Good morning from Belgrade, Serbia. It is, what time is it this Sunday morning? It's 8:15 this Sunday morning. And I am in downtown Belgrade. Right in back of me is the Hotel Moskva, a historic hotel, a beautiful building. I have no idea why it's historic. I just know it's historic. So people in Belgrade, someone in Belgrade, help me out. Why is this hotel historic? It's a beautiful building. I will give it that. It is a very beautiful hotel. So let's talk about some news while we're in front of the Hotel Moskva. I'm going to read three quotes today. Three quotes. One from Medvedev, Dmitry Medvedev, who's the deputy secretary of the Security Council, the main decision-making body in Russia, and he was also a former president as well. And I'll read you a quote from Donald Trump, about Nancy Pelosi and Taiwan, and then we'll read a quote from Erdogan about the trade between Russia and Turkey. And that is an important quote. So let's cross right here and let's get in front of the beautiful hotel. Maybe walk a little bit around it a bit. It's a nice cafe, a nice terrace cafe. So Medvedev and his quote. Before I get to Medvedev's quote, let me just give a quick roundup as to what's going on in Ukraine. We are getting news from Ukraine journalists on the ground saying that Ukraine armed forces, they have started to blow up bridges in Bakhmut, in central Bakhmut, which is the main artery to supply the Ukraine military in the Donbass, and they've started to blow up bridges. That's a very bad sign for Elensky and the Ukraine military. We have news that the Russians are closing in on the town of Mariinka, which is right next to Donetsk, kind of west of Donetsk, and they've taken 3 farms, a complete agricultural agglomeration. And the main difficulty now is that almost every house in the town is traditionally fortified, and the full capture of the city appears to be a 2 to 3 week project. What else do we have going on in Ukraine on the ground? I think, let me check real quick. Give me a second, and let me just see if there's anything else going on here before I shift gears and talk about Medvedev. I think that's the roundup. I mean, the Great Kherson Offensive is not to be. We may have a Russian offensive in the south of Ukraine that may be building. And that's pretty much everything. I know that the Institute for the Study of War, which is the Victoria Nuland funded think tank with regards to Ukraine, they are saying that the Russians have booby-trapped the Zaporozhye nuclear plant. A Russian opposition outlet reported that Russian forces are storing explosives and mines in and around the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant and may have mined parts of the plant. Russian forces may also be firing rockets at Ukrainian positions from within or near the plant. So we're back to the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. This was one of the fake news stories that we had way in the beginning of the conflict. Remember? The Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and the Russians were attacking it, and that turned out to be verified, complete fake news. And now it looks like we're back. We're recycling the fake news and the propaganda. This time the Russians I don't know, because they want to, I guess. They're mining and booby trapping the nuclear power plant because, well, just because, and they're firing missiles from that plant because they want the Ukraine military to attack that power plant because the Russians just want to do these evil things, according to the Victoria Nuland funded Institute for the Study of War. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. But everything that they say is projection. So when they say that Russia is doing certain evil things in and around the power plant, it always makes me nervous because it means that they may have something in store in and around that nuclear power plant. This is a beautiful fountain, and there's actually a tour guide over there, and they're talking about the fountain. So I'm not sure if this holds any significance, but I'm a terrible tour guide for Belgrade, aren't I? I should have done my research. 1906 it says up there on the Hotel Moskva. 1906. Wow. Fantastic. One day I'm going to have a coffee right there one day. Maybe today. I'll see. So we also have the ditching of Elensky. And this is coming out of Australia. And this... now let me know, anyone watching in Australia, if this is a popular journalist. He's for Sky News. His name is Bernardi. And I can't play the video, but I'll put a link to the video down below. And I won't play it for copyright reasons. I think Sky News is pretty tough when it comes to the copyright stuff. But boy, does he lay into Elensky. I mean, this guy, Bernardi, he lays into Elensky. He pretty much calls Elensky, he calls him pretty much a war criminal. I mean, that's pretty much the essence of this guy's monologue. So I'll put a link for that down below, and just take a look, because once again, to me, it signals a shift in the sentiment and the feelings towards Elensky and the propaganda in and around Elensky as this heroic figure, and it seems to be shifting to this authoritarian war criminal who kind of has bumbled and bungled the entire Ukraine conflict, the entire Ukraine project. That seems to be the shift, from hero to zero. And this guy Bernardi, he doesn't hold back. And I imagine that Sky News is not very Russian friendly, that's for sure. I mean, I know they lean towards, I guess you could say, conservative right, I guess. But, who knows what that means anymore these days. But they're definitely not Russian friendly, that's for sure. So I'll leave a link down below to this monologue from Bernardi. Take a look, and it's another indication that the collective West, well, they're kind of Elensky'd out. They're ready to drop the clown puppet actor who wears high heels. Let's get to Medvedev's quote now. Enough of me rambling on about what's going on the ground in Ukraine. Let's get to the three quotes, and let's start with Dmitry Medvedev. And Medvedev was commenting on the Ukrainian parliament's pending legislation to confiscate all Russian property. And Medvedev said this, and I quote, "They take from us on paper while we take from them on the ground. And the issue of confiscating the Kiev regime's criminally acquired property and turning it into the property of the Russian Federation are successfully handled by our armed forces." Wow, that is some quote. And we're going to have a referendum being planned in much of the southern areas, which are currently under Russian control, specifically Kherson. And we do know that one of the reasons why Elensky went against his general's advice to to stay and fight in Donbass, and he moved many of the assets, including a lot of the weapons, the wonder weapons, the HIMARS, and all of this stuff that the collective West, that the Biden White House gave Elensky. The reason he moved all of that stuff down south to Kherson is because Elensky did not want the optics, the media optics of a referendum to play out. I actually said this 2-3 weeks ago, that one thing that the Elensky regime and the collective West will not be able to cover up, they won't be able to hide, are celebrations of a successful referendum. And all those videos and images going on social media, and everyone seeing those social media images and saying, in the collective West, and saying, what are we fighting this war for? They want to, these people want to be a part of the Russian Federation. That's going to be the sentiment when all these videos and photos come out of the celebrations from a successful referendum. And that's something that the collective West and the Elensky regime absolutely do not want. So that is why Elensky moved those military assets against his general's advice. He moved it down south to the Kherson region, and then you got the whole counteroffensive myth, which was actually kind of used, I believe, to explain away the repositioning of those military assets. You're going to have this Kherson offensive, but really, the reason you had all of this stuff going on in the south from the Ukraine military side of things, once again, against the Ukraine general's advice, is because of media and PR optics. And that referendum's going to happen probably within a month. So that is the quote from Dmitry Medvedev, who is basically saying to Ukraine, you guys are looking at confiscating stuff, and you've got all this media and PR spin, but we just continue to press forward. We continue to push forward and claim territory. That is the quote from Medvedev, who has become he's positioned himself to be quite a hardliner with regards to this conflict, and now with regards to the collective West. He's the hardline voice of the Kremlin. So let's talk about Trump and his quotes and Nancy Pelosi. Now I'm going to play a short video. I think it's like 9 seconds. And I just want everybody to know that we finally have the reasons for Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. Pelosi herself has given the reason as to why she went. So there's no need to speculate anymore or to try to figure this out. Why did Pelosi go to Taiwan? What was the one reason? What were the many reasons? Was it for insider stock trading info? Was it to distract from the Ukraine catastrophe? Was it to poke the dragon? All of these things that we've been talking about, distract from her husband's little run-in with the police. What was the reason? Well, in this 9-second video, Nancy gives the reason. So let me play it.
When I was a little girl, I was told at the beach if I dug a hole deep enough, we would reach China. So we've always felt a connection there.
So that was Nancy Pelosi letting everyone know that the reason that she went to Taiwan is because, growing up, she heard that if you dig a hole deep enough, you'll end up in China, and that's why she went to that area. I wonder if that's a recognition from Nancy Pelosi, if that 9 seconds is a recognition that Taiwan is, if she recognizes Taiwan as being part of China, by saying that if you dig a hole deep enough, you end up in China. But Pelosi was in Taiwan. Anyway, I'm not going to try to make logic out of Pelosi's word salad. So that's the person that could be responsible for starting a terrible war between the U.S. and China. That's the person. Right there. That 9-second clip says it all. So Trump's quote with regards to Pelosi, he was giving a speech during a campaign rally in Wisconsin. And he said this. He said, "Crazy Nancy Pelosi, what the hell? What was she doing in Taiwan? She was China's dream. She gave them an excuse. They've been looking for that excuse. She gave it. Everything she touches turns to you-know-what." Crazy Nancy Pelosi. Hey, Trump, come on. It's Ursula von der crazy. Crazy Nancy Pelosi. Oh boy, Trump is very talented at the nicknames. I have to give him that. But even though he's saying this stuff with his usual kind of flair and rhetoric that Trump has during these campaign rallies, he's right. I mean, his message is correct. What the hell was she doing there? And yes, Nancy Pelosi, by going there, has now given China all the reason it needs to prepare actions against not only Taiwan and the one China policy, but also against the United States. And they're doing just that. We've got pretty much a blockade of Taiwan at the moment. Taiwan, they're saying that the drills are simulating a full attack on the island. They're kind of, the test run for something that may happen in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, in a couple of years, who knows? But Taiwan is saying that this is just a test run. You now have American assets, American military assets that will be going to the area as well. So that's not good. That's not a good sign. We're starting to escalate instead of de-escalate. And Taiwan has closed off any flights, I believe, leaving the island as well. And just an all-around terrible situation. And of course, this is going to affect the entire planet, isn't it? I mean, this war, this conflict that has now started between China and the United States is going to affect all of us. And for what? Trump is right. For what? Why? For crazy Nancy Pelosi? We're going to go through all of this because crazy Nancy Pelosi wanted to dig a hole and see if she dug a hole deep enough, she would end up in China, or in this case, Taiwan. Was that the reason for all of this? Anyway, all right. That is Trump. Let's get to Erdogan. And this is an important story that not many people are covering. And it has to do with the meeting that took place in Sochi between Turkish President Erdogan and Russian President Vladimir Putin. And I mentioned this in a video I did yesterday. The two leaders, they talked about a lot of topics. And they discussed a lot of the conflicts that affect both the countries, both the nations, from Ukraine to the flare-up in Nagorno-Karabakh to Syria and Kosovo. I mean, they covered a lot of geopolitical ground. But perhaps one of the most important outcomes of this meeting is the fact that Turkey will now be trading with Russia, and they're going to be using the ruble. That is right. They're going to be using the ruble. So let me read you a quote from Erdogan. "We agree on the ruble as a monetary unit in trade. Since we will conduct our trade in rubles, this will, of course, be a serious source of income for both Turkey and Russia. In addition, there is the Mir card, the Russian analog of Visa. 5 of our banks currently accept it. There's very serious progress in this issue, which will ultimately improve conditions for tourists coming from Russia. They will be able to do shopping and pay for hotels." The ruble, a serious source of income for both Turkey and Russia, trading in the ruble. Now they want to bump up the cooperation, the economic cooperation. That's just a bus that's backing up. That little noise over there. The Kontiki tourist bus. Let's walk before we do our clown world. And they want to bump up this trade cooperation to $100 billion between Turkey and Russia. The trade has already grown by 60% from last year, and it has doubled in the last 5 months of 2022. So they have big ambitions to do business, Turkey and Russia. And all of that business is going to be conducted in rubles. And also the Mir card, the Russian competitor to Visa. Well, Visa now has a competitor. There you go. Because of the sanctions, Visa and MasterCard now have to contend with UnionPay, the Chinese competitor to Visa, and now the Mir card, which will be used all over Turkey. So that is big, big news from the meeting between Erdogan and Putin. Just your basic de-dollarization that is taking effect. Thank you, Joe Bidenopoulos. Let's do a clown world and we'll wrap up this video. And this clown world will come out of Germany. Once again, Germany is going to make a clown world, and once again, this clown world is related to the energy crisis that is going to hit Germany in the winter. We are still in the first week of August, and the Germans are already preparing for a crushing winter. And Germans are urging people to cut gas consumption in Germany. They're saying they need a 20% gas consumption cut. Germans should cut energy consumption by at least 20% to avoid gas shortages this coming winter. Klaus Mueller, the head of Germany's federal regulator for gas and power networks, told Welt am Sonntag newspapers. And let me quote Mr. Mueller: consumers have to save at least 20%, so much more than before. There is already a risk of gas shortage in December, or we will have low storage levels at the end of the coming heating period. Yeah, 20% cut. If we don't save a lot and don't get any additional gas, we'll have a problem, Mueller said. Houston will have a problem. Germany, we've got a problem. No more gas. So they're talking 20% now. The EU is looking to get 15% from member states so that they can pass it on to Germany. I mean, it is... And why, Germany? Why are you going through all of this? Did you not see Sky News? What's his name? Bernardi? Bernardi's monologue? Did you not see it? Do I need to share it with you? The memo is that Elensky is being dropped. So Germany, why are you doing this? Why do you continue to do this? There's no need to destroy your economy for Elensky anymore. That's the narrative has changed, but the Greens, the Habecks, the Brabaks, they want to push forward with the deindustrialization of Germany. So they may have to find another excuse after Elensky is dropped like a hot potato. They may have to figure out another con to pass off to the German public in order to justify the deindustrialization of Germany. So I will leave it there. I am going to grab a coffee right up the street. It's pretty quiet right now for a Sunday morning. Last night, Saturday night, I kind of was walking around the central area, and it was just tons of people. But I like the quiet of a Sunday morning. All right, check out Alexander's channel. Check out the Duran's channel. Look for all of our channels on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, and Telegram, and absolutely, definitely, the Duran.locals.com is where you can find all our content, and Duran shop right here. The Duran t-shirts making its appearance in Belgrade, Serbia. 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY. Take care.